Hello and welcome to another edition of Fours and Sixes. With me is Swaminathan. As always, I have Gomesh to discuss the cricketing issues. Of course, there's just one place right now. That's the ongoing edition of the IPL. Some interesting subplots. What have you seen over the last 3 weeks that the IPL has gone on for?
It's been interesting in many fronts, and the scripts. Some of the scripts seems very familiar with Mumbai losing
You may
three.
want to use another word instead of script.
I mean, I'm just saying some of the things that we have seen in the past, like storylines of the teams, like Mumbai losing three and then bouncing back with a couple of victories, coming together as a team. RR doing well at the start of the tournament. They have won four on the trot, and then they've lost one. And but I think the most fascinating thing for me is probably watching a team like SRH perform the way they have. We know they are a really good team on paper, and they have the overseas 11 to pick from to the four, and but somehow they've managed to outbat as well as the bowlers doing what their role is specifically without many superstars in their bowling lineup, so to say.
Are you surprised by the kind of impact that somebody like a Pat Cummins has had, because he's not really known for this T20 now, shall we say?
I am, in the sense that I am surprised by and even really surprised in a very good way by the fact that he has been able to make an impact as a captain. I mean, let's look at the numbers. He's not made that much of an impact as an enforcer or a bowler or a batter, but it seems like he's able to get the best out of the people around him, and so soon how he has been able to do that, that's what surprises me the most. I mean, with Australia, he's been there, the setup, he knows the environment. It's not a surprise that he's a good Australian captain, but to come into a franchise setup that has not had a bit of history with captains and the way they have operated, and then to create that kind of an environment and the kind of a result that he has produced, it's really surprising. It's something that has to be taken note of and appreciated as well.
Moving on from SRH, we have some of the usual suspects at the top of the table and some of the usual suspects at the bottom of the table. We'll start with the top. I mean, CSK continue to do CSK things, just win their home matches. You would say that they're already almost virtually guaranteed of a place in the knockouts just because of what they have been doing at Chepauk all these years.
I mean, that's what the teams are supposed to do, right? You pick a team that's suited for their home venue, and then you make the most out of it. If you win 5 games out of out of the 7, more or less 2 away games, and you're a guaranteed place in the playoff, and that's what CSK has been doing historically. And this year hasn't been easy on road. They have had injuries. They have had some, kind of missed players, Fatirana and Mustafizur Rahman, especially the bowling. It'll be interesting to see. They are on an away roll right now with no home games for a foreseeable couple of weeks. It'll be interesting to see. They are playing Mumbai, another high profile clash on the weekend. It'll be interesting to see how they go there. But what I'm more impressed is, again, it should not come as a surprise, is the way they have used the impact player role, the way they have, and not just CSK, a lot of teams have fine-tune the way they use the impact player role, and somehow even form the teams and pick players so that they could use them to the specific roles, like RR, for example. How last year Jurel was the impact player, and it was the first year the impact player rule was used, and from what we understand, it seems like they used an extra batter or an extra bowler, but this year they've realized it's an opportunity to maximize their potential rather than just put in an extra 20 runs or something like that. So here they are using someone like Jaiswal as an impact player, and then bringing in a pure overseas bowler. They're going in with 3 overseas players and then bringing in overseas. And it's not just RR, a lot of other teams are doing this as well. So that's very interesting as well.
Moving on from CSK, I mean, you touched upon RR there. RR, I think, on top of the table. The team in second place is something that's caught me attention, and not just because, I mean, they're obviously a good team led by Shreyas Iyer, who seems to be a capable captain, but what's really interested me this year with respect to KKR is that they have just seem to be like all intent, extremely aggressive with the bat. Phil Salt replacing Rahmanullah Gurbaz, Sunil Narain. I mean, this Sunil Narain is probably like the 2019-20 version of Sunil Narain. What's really happened there?
I don't think anybody knows. I think Sunil Reyes in his form, and sometimes teams are bowling to his strength. And sometimes teams don't have the arsenal to exploit his weakness as well. It works both ways, and it's worked in favor of KKR. And the biggest talking point probably would be the return of Andy Russell and the way he has come into form from the first match. And then they also have Rinku Singh. It's not just that they have gone all out aggressive, say someone like Punjab Kings, who's like anybody who comes in is going to hit. But that's not how KKR operate. Like Ramandeep Singh slows down and Shreyas Iyer slows down, and Rinku takes time and then he goes on. But it's just the two West Indian players, Sunil Narain at the top and Andy Russell in the middle. They're making all the difference. So much that someone like Mitchell Starc, the highest signed player ever in the league, has had a terrible run so far, and it's gone unnoticed.
Yeah. Just speaking of KKR, Ankush Raghuvanshi is somebody who's caught both our attention, and Raghuvanshi is sort of an interesting cricketer because the uncapped Indian batters seem to have maximized on their potential this year. We have Abhishek Sharma of SRH, Ankush Raghuvanshi is a player who's caught attention, Mahipal Lomror of RCB, Riyan Parag of RR. What's really happened this year with the uncapped Indian batters? Is it just, they do not put a price on their wicket as some of the established batters because they've been given additional freedom, license, or have they leveled up, skilled up in the off season? What's happening there?
I think it's a bit of everything, and it's also predominantly the mindset change with the newer generation of players coming through. Ryan Parag has probably always played like this. It's just the consistency that has added up. It's just the way he is constructing his innings is that changed. Raghuvanshi has shown glimpses of it. Abhishek Sharma has the license to go for it because he has the. No, I don't think any other team has a middle order that consists of Aiden Markram, who can hit pace and spin, and then Henrik Larsson, who is probably the most destructive six-hitter there is, irrespective of what the bowling is. So they have the license to go ahead as well. And in general, we saw Abhishek Sharma hit 5 sixes or something like that, even against Tamil Nadu in the Ranji Trophy. So it's a very mindset thing, and obviously a lot of work has gone into it during the off season with respect to upskilling and the other things as well.
Talking of uncapped Indian batters, I want to just put you on the spot with a slightly capped, with not exactly a slightly capped, but an Indian batter who has been in and out of the team. If you were to pick the team just purely on the form of this year's IPL, you would probably say that Sanju Samson deserves a spot. Do you think the team management will relook a spot for Sanju Samson? Not in the team. I mean, not in the 11, but in the 15 or the 17 or whatever.
I think there is a possibility for it because you look at the other keepers, and where they bat. KL Rahul hasn't had an impact as a batter, and yes, he is keeping wickets, and sometimes he also played it as an impact player. Rishabh Pant is scoring runs. He's back, he's fit, and he's playing, but he's still not fully there. Probably.
I think there is no doubt in both our minds that if he's fit and scoring, Pant will be number 4 at the World Cup.
Yeah, Rishabh Pant is there, but the second option is going to be the question, and it comes down to say someone like Jitesh Sharma or Sanju Samson, and Sanju Samson is putting up the runs, and Jitesh Sharma unfortunately haven't so far, but he probably have a couple of weeks. It's the first week of May is around. That's where the deadline is. So he would want to make some mark, but otherwise it should not come as a surprise if Sanju goes at least as a backup keeper.
Moving on from teams in the top of the division to the teams in the bottom of the division. Sorry, RCB fans and DC fans. This, just for information, this is recorded before DC's match with LSG. First, RCB. We have been here like before. We have probably been here on a year-on-year basis. Is there any rational explanation as to why this franchise continues to do this?
I don't know to what extent you can blame or question the players. Like, I really don't. I mean, you go into the auction looking to upskill your arsenal. You have let go of Fanindo Asaranga. You have let Josh Hazelwood is not available, and you're looking for replacements. You hire 4 and you go 20.5 crores for Pat Cummins. If they had gotten Pat Cummins, their auction is over.
Yeah.
I mean, lucky for them, they didn't get Pat Cummins, and they did a 17.5 crore deal with Mumbai Indians to get
For
Cameron
Cameron
Green,
Green,
who's predominantly a top order batting
And he has
all-rounder.
since been dropped.
Yeah, and he's a predominantly top order batting all-rounder.
And they're playing him at number
Middle order,
Yeah.
and more than anything else, in general, we've seen in the auction, it's the fast bowlers, it's the fast bowling all-rounders who go for big money because they
And
don't have the resources
and the
for
Indian
it.
mystery spinners, which they
Yeah.
have historically never had.
And so, which means teams tend to pay for players who are not available in the scheme of things. But RCB has always gone in the other way. They have invested heavily on the overseas batters, whether it's Gale or Kohli or ABD. And you look at this is the sheer fact that someone like Virat Kohli is probably the only batter who's Indian batter to score over 1,000 runs, and the next in the list is Rahul Dravid, and that sums up a lot. I mean, to put things into context, Shivam Dube has more than 1,000 runs for Chennai Super Kings, and that says the way they have constructed the team. And until the team construction sorts itself out,
And Dube is a former RCB player.
I think until the team construction is sort itself out, it's very hard for them to come together as a team and perform. And there is only so much the batting lineup can do, and it doesn't help that Faf du Plessis didn't score runs until the last game, and Glenn Maxwell is like out of form after 3 good years with them. So a lot of things have gone wrong on the field with players as well, but a lot of things have gone wrong at the auction table, which is where most of the teams lose.
If you had told me before the beginning of the IPL who would Bumrah's strike partner be at the World Cup, probably I would have said Mohammad Siraj. Should India be worried now about Mohammad Siraj, or is it still too early?
It's still too early because even last season he finished with 19 wickets or something like that. But the problem with Mohammad Siraj is that with the other Indian players being rotated, he's been the mainstay for the national team, and he's played most number of matches across formats in the last 12 months. And has it taken a toll? Only the team management and the selectors should be looking into it. But it shows that he's not making an impact. It's not just that he's not taking wickets. It's just, it feels like he's not looking threatening at all. There's not even a questions asked with the ball, especially in the power play. And that is a worrying concern, but it's still too early to tell. And this is a very long tournament, and it feels like we've been here forever, but it's just been 25 games. So there's still another, I think, 45, more than 45 plus games to go. So like, it's still a long way.
We'll just have enough time to just talk about Delhi Capitals. It's an interesting franchise. They have been up and down. I would argue that injuries have probably affected them this season. Likes of Mitchell Marsh, Kuldeep Yadav, who I understand is probably playing that game against Lucknow. Just how do you look at a franchise like DC and try to,
Again, they have gone very top heavy. You look at their top 5, and all the top 5 could probably open the batting, and that's been the problem for them. And when someone like Mitchell Marsh doesn't come good, when he comes good, he's unstoppable. But when he doesn't come good, he goes into a slump. And the middle order weight relies entirely on Rishabh Pant, who himself is coming back from a long layoff. And it's Akshar Patel is not firing enough with the bat as well as with the ball.
Even otherwise, you would probably question, is Akshar Patel the T20 finisher that you need?
Yeah, but he's probably a better T20 batter than say someone like Ravindra Jadeja. But at the same time, is he used properly? That's a different question. And what doesn't help them is that they've relied extremely on Henrik Nortje, who was really good until 2022. But since then he's been on a slump. He's going for runs. MS Dhoni hit him left, right, and center. We know he's not a fan of high pace in the second half of his career, but still. Yes, there were some really bad balls, but still, someone at 42 to hit him like that, it shows where the bowler is as well. At some level, due credit to MS Dhoni. So, again, they're probably one of the few franchises who's keenly waiting for the mega auction, which is a very different topic in itself. Whether the retentions are allowed, it's not decided yet.
None of it is out yet.
It's not decided yet. There is probably a meeting somewhere next month. or later this month as well. But they're probably one of the teams who want to reshuffle and build it again with Rishabh Pant in the center soon enough.
That's all we have time for this edition of Fours and Sixes. We will probably put another video out roughly around the halfway stage of the league. That's all. Thanks for watching. Bye bye. Stay safe as always.